Okay, hello everybody. Now Milan Lesnek is going to tell us about Workflow Engine.
So, hello, welcome everyone back from the lunch. Hopefully you are full of beautiful and nice food. Relax, and I'm going to tell you a small story of our migration to the Workflow Engine. A little bit about me. I'm senior software engineer at TV.com. That's my beautiful baby, my dog, good boy Hagrid. And I think that's it about me. This is the first conference where I'm speaker for the first time, so wish me luck. I'm a little bit nervous. So yesterday we already had one very nice presentation from Anton about Workflow Engine in the cloud native way. And you're welcome. It was beautiful, and I'm going to talk about the one interesting Camunda Germany project, which we handled to use, and I'm going to try to sell why we even choose the Camunda. So, the beginning, you need to know a little bit for the story. The standard process can be controlled like a choreography or orchestration. If you want to see the difference, that choreography is like every API knows what are all the next steps. For example, here, order API literally know that it has to be created invoices, send it invoices, it has to relocate the stocks in the warehouse. But every other API also knows all the other paths, and the business logic is kind of hardwired in every API. The orchestration, on the other hand, is like the box, as small as an atomic function, can be there. The box really don't know what is the outside of the world, and it will just get the request, pull the job, finish the job, here's my result, goodbye, let's go to update warehouse. And I really like to give the real-life examples that the choreography can be something like a ballet, that everyone knows what are dance moves, who is the main dancer, who is that pretty girl. And on the other hand, the orchestration is something like an orchestra, that there is one conductor. That's a funny thing because Netflix workflow orchestration is called conductor, is working and telling everyone what has to be done, that please, I want some trumpet and play the whiplash solo, or I'm going to create incident. It's very nice workflow that there is only one mediator. It's kind of the mediator pattern versus the choreography where everyone has to know what is the next step. I don't want to go to details, but anyway, Camunda Workflow Engine is created on the BPNM notation. I will tell you more about that later. But the logic is done that every box has its own persistent queue and topic, and it's persistent because the job can wait there unlimited time. I have from one consultant the quote, Camunda is the best at waiting. So the workers are going to one day pull the job and finish it, but it will be always in the queue, and you can finish any task, wait for the manual task, wait for everyone. This is one of the reasons why we choose Camunda. And also the BPNM notation. It's very Camunda specific. I think even Camunda made this standard of business process modeling notation. The superpower is that there is so much tooling that we can replicate and create any process. There are messages, parallel gateways, asynchronous gateways, event gateways, a lot of stuff. You can even put sub-processes inside processes or call activities to call another process. There is a lot of stuff in the BPNM notation. And the best thing about it, that it makes everyone happy, because business can finally understand what we are selling even. Testers are super happy because they know where is our mistake. Product manager finally knows what the product is. And the best thing is for the developers, because when you think about it, the BPNM notation is going to control the process, so you are having always up-to-date documentation. There is no way you can release another process and don't have documentation because it's tightly coupled to that diagram, and the diagram is completely up-to-date with the production and everything. That was a very important thing for us, because how I'm going to show you, we end up in business process hell. It wasn't microservice hell, it was business process hell. And let's go for it. our migration journey. So every journey needs an origin. The origin was this beautiful application which was created 9 years ago because our API partners had very little low of resources, so we have to little bit wait until they cool down, and we hit it again and finally booked the ticket. Well, after 8 years, it became this. 7 years, nobody knows exactly when was the beginning. And it became so hard that it's nearly an abstract art, but it's 26,000 possible scenarios. And I was working on it already 5 years, because as a junior, I said I love challenges, and I agreed to work on it. I wasn't ready for it. So where we have to start is really the document the process. It's my favorite era when we even start to think about it, and we have this BPMN Picasso era because we have to create all the processes. If you think about it in your application, what is your application doing? You can say, yeah, KiwiCom is buying tickets. Oh yeah, it's very easy to buy a ticket. But we end up in these iterations. We have already 3 BPMNs where we kind of found out every other box, and we end up with all the microservices and monoliths in 31 activity boxes. I'm sorry it's blurred because the business process for the company is like the secret spices for KFC, and I cannot just show you. So the BPMN took us 1.5 months, but then the code refactoring. We don't have hexagonal architecture. Everything was 8 years old. Do you have any 8 years old service? If yes, you know how it looks like. It was very hard to create 31 activities out of it. And actually, it was nice because worker can be just one and can have all the register activities, handler, task interface. And we made it that every box need an integration and unit tests. So that took also a lot of time. But we made it in 6 months, which was pretty nice, I would say, from all the monoliths. And it was a very good job of the team. And the implementation is by the package PyZB. The ZB is the main engine of the Camunda. I forgot to say that. And the main engine is controlled by gRPC communication. So by that, it means you can have the worker in anything and the client in anything. There are already a lot of community clients like PyZB. For example, there is also a Rust client, which is called a ZBest, and Haskell client, which is called Haskell ZB client. And this PyZB has very, very nice interface, very similar, for example, to fast API routers, that you are just going to put there the task type, and the task type is the connection to the activity box in the diagram. And the jobs are pulling from the Camunda, so it's very nice chunk of code, so it was easier to do integration test when you have a very small idempotent function or little bit bigger class, which still should be idempotent. Sometimes it's not, but it's good. Yes, we have process testing. Yeah, I thought Anton would be happy. But we have really the end-to-end testing of whole process engine and everything. The idea is pretty easy, that the clients are replicated from the logs, and they are dependency injected all the activities. The worker is started is async IO thread and task. The other async IO task will create the process. There is whole testing database populated by template data, and there is embedded ZB Docker or whole Camunda cluster on the sandbox where you can start the process, but still it's, found out all the 26,000 scenarios. That's not a very good idea. So we did data mining. Fortunately, in the KiwiCom, we are logging every API request, API response, so we were very lucky that we can mock all the communication. And by data mining, we found out that we can hit every box, or 81% of all the box in 18 scenarios. From the beginning, we just created those 18 scenarios, but it was still a lot of work just to copy-paste, and we are developers, we are not doing these manual tasks. We rather automate for 8 hours or a couple of days to automate it. So I created the framework because I don't want to manually create the tests. And it's designed on the Gherkin template. or cucumber template. And there are some given when then notations. In the given, you are going to put all the logs and everything. But the biggest accomplishment was that we created some auto-generative scripts that mean that only with the process ID, I'm possible to download all the communication, and the communication is immediately put into given, when, and then testing template. Everything is done, and the test which would took me to create maybe 1 day will be created in 5 seconds. And the possibility is even farther, because I can now replay any problematic scenario. The QA just came to told me that process failed, they don't know what happened. I will download my logs, put them on the sandbox. I can even breakpoint it, found out the issue, found out the variable, and I can say, customer put emoji in the surname. So I can find it literally in minutes. It was something for us like break changing, because just think about your distributed system that you can put into the half of the system breakpoint. And look at all the data, look at everything what happened, all the variables, and even change them, interconnect them, and put there some more logic so you know how to fix it and what happened, what was wrong. But the other way around, it's our homemade framework, and the testing scenarios are now around 22,000 lines. And it's not the biggest. I did analysis that the biggest scenario could take 500,000 lines, and I don't want that test. But also the other problem is that we wanted to have it in CI, but my colleagues hate me, because with number of scenarios we have, it would take 3 hours to pipeline to be accomplished. So we have these tests always before a releasing of the major change or the business process change, and they are super useful for debugging, and still like we can even use it as a prep rod. Was the testing useful? I would say yes. It was super useful because we released everything on the production. It was released in July 2022, and up till today we don't have any errors, and we are daily processing around 54,000 segments in this application particular. But I did one developer error, because no test can save you before that you cannot write a Word environment without autocomplete. It happens, everyone can do it. But it was extreme accomplishment, and it took us only 1 month, and I love testing. So that was the most beautiful part of the journey. What we have next is some of the results. Was it even worth it? Because if you count the months and everything, we were migrating around 1 year. And the migration was even tougher because the service is critical and new features were still implementing into the features. So we were fighting with the implementation team and our R&D team. But it was super interesting that product, business, and QAs became super aligned. They are coming with the features. They are asking about small optimizations, and became very visible for everyone. Automatically documented process means that I didn't create a documentation for 1 year, and I'm very happy from it, because as a senior, I should have very beautiful documentation, but I don't really like to write it. It's very hard to mark down everything, and even somebody can tell you that it's a technical debt to have very broad documentation, because every feature change means a documentation change. But here, no, I love it. QAs became like the first line of the debugging. They can debug everything in the tooling, which I'm going to show you, like 90% of stuff. The 10% of stuff is literally some database deadlocks or networking issues. And activities are reusable. We already did, I think, 5 features without writing any code, that we just, like Lego bricks, put everything together, and we have Lego Batman car. It was awesome. There is a paid tool from Camunda which is called Operate, and it's mainly used by our QAs. In the Operate, you can even change the variable in the active real-time process. You can move the real-time processes. You can retry the incidents, and you can see whole history, how the process went with blue lines. But it's paid tool. Only the ZB engine is for free. And it's really, really cool, because I was working in this application for a long time, and the debugging really took 1 to 4 hours, depending on what was it. If it was just emoji in the surname, I can do it in 1 hour. Other stuff was 4 hours, and now it really took 3 minutes because the process will stop in the incident. All the variables are approaching there, and they will tell you what exactly failed on the place, and you can just fix one thing and retry the process. And also there is versioning of this BPNM because our business is still in the startup and they really love to change everything. So we can even roll back whole business process. We can go to a specific version of business process and we can see if there is some misconception like putting in the process something not wanted. And not everything is again the black box and everyone have understanding of the elementary things what process does. And with the version control, we can even look back how we get better, what was 1 year before the process, and evaluate business reasons. I also want to thank KiwiCom. We are searching for developers if you are interested, and I hope I will meet you at EuroPython. And thank you. I was a little nervous. I'm sorry, but I didn't went too fast. Any questions?
Thank you very much. I don't see any questions for now. Like if anybody wants to ask any questions, like feel free to use the QR code. If somebody asks a question for some reason I don't have it here, just tell me right away. But yeah, so I think this is it for now.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.